today the topic what I've taken is plant life and how we are going to introduce it. That's the idea of this. I mean, each topic, in what way we'll be introducing it, how effectively it will reach the students. And since the topic is from 3rd to higher classes till 10th or standard, the gradation is different. We should know where to draw lines. For example, class 3 till what we have to limit our explanation. 4th, slightly we have to take it higher, and class 5 slightly we have to take it higher. For example, now I'm going to teach plant life. So the moment I enter the class, I won't say open your reader, take the lesson number, this, that, and all. So I want a suspense in children to find out the topic. So I'll just ask them, children, have you all, are you all interested in gardening? Or have you ever seen plants? Have you observed them? Do you have plants in your house? They'll say yes. What type of plants you have seen? So they'll come out with different types. They might say, few might say yes, few might say no. A few might come out with various names of plants. They can even say trees. Yes. So then once all this is done for 2-3 minutes, they'll all be vibrant, answering so many things. So you can ask them, okay, now have you all just noticed whether they are all same? Surely they'll say no, because one would have said neem tree, one would have said mango tree, one would have said money plant, one would have said I have tulsi plant at home. So each one would have come out with different names and different examples. So you can then you can ask, so have you ever noticed that they are all same? They'll say no, yeah, it's not same. Then you can ask them about the leaves, you can ask them about the structure they are. Okay, then they'll say, you can ask, what topic are we going to learn? Surely they'll come out with the answer, plants, because they know in the reader the topic is there. Based on the reader, they will tell you the lesson topic. So now we get to start. This is one way. Another way, before starting the lesson, you can divide the groups. If you have 30 or 40, you can divide them into groups. You yourself can bring few flowering pots, or if you have it in your school garden, you can ask somebody to bring it, or you can take your children there, which is, I don't think every time it's possible, but you can ask, even you can ask beforehand children to bring few pots, flowering pots, or you can arrange to keep it in your classroom. You can just ask them to observe, identify the different parts of the plants or something like that. This can be a warm-up. So now I'll just screen share and I'll just tell you each and every theme or topic where we have to draw a line and how to go about the topic. Can you see my screen, teachers?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
We can't be, last year we had online, so we were showing all the PPTs, videos and other things. Now it's going to be offline, but still to have an idea, to have a thought process, I am just sharing PPT and then explaining how to go about each particular topic. Actually, I won't be explaining the content. Each content, in what way we can take it effectively to the children. That's what my idea of this session. So this is plant life. So first we'll ask them what are plants and how do they play an important role in the environment. You can just say, can we live without plants? Or you can ask them, can you name some animals that eat only plants? Or are we eating plants? What did you eat today in the morning? Like that you can ask. So they will tell, they will answer you, and then you can go ahead with it. Teachers, please. Mala ma'am, can you mute? So the definition is plants are living organisms that cover and all that. They include all this. And then most plants make their own food through a process called photo. This is just gist of the topic. Now, why do we need plants? See, it is very important for all of us. Without that, nobody can survive, whether it is animal or human beings. Then, they absorb carbon dioxide and release oxygen from their leaves. This is called photosynthesis. And while introducing this topic, you can ask them to explain actually what is the process of photosynthesis. You can draw a diagram on the board, okay, and you can tell what is photosynthesis and why it is important for the plant life. All living things need plants to live. They eat them and live them. Even we are coming under that category only. 1 minute. So they help to clean water and they provide nutrients. This is the process of photosynthesis. So at this time, you can explain them what it is, why it is important. And you can even say, what do plants need in order to make food? So he will come out with the answer. Then you can say, name the food made by plants, what it is. You can ask. Then what are the factors necessary for plant growth? And even, sorry, before slide, you can even ask them, what do the plants release while preparing or during photosynthesis? What do they release? That could also be questioned. And is this useful for humans and animals? Or you can ask them to list the purposes of what plants use their food. I mean, for their growth. That is the main idea of that. Then the factors necessary for plant growth, we'll be explaining them. These are the factors which are necessary for the plant growth. Then we come to parts of a plant. Before explaining this parts of a plant, actually you would have asked them whether you've seen a plant while introducing the lesson, or in other way I said you can take a pot and then you can ask them to observe and identify the parts of a plant. You can ask them to show what is it, what is this, what is this. So surely they might not know all the details, but surely they can identify a leaf, flower, bud, and branch or stem. This much they can identify. Since the roots are down, they won't be knowing that part. But they know there is a root existing there in the plant. So each part you can start explaining one after the other. For example, start off with leaves, because this is very important for class 3, 4, and 5. So you can say, have you ever observed the leaves? Surely they would have said yes. Then, how are they categorized? Why they all look different? So they are categorized based on their color, size, and shape. So the leaves are categorized based on their color, size, and shape. You can ask them why the leaves are green in color. Majority of the plants, the leaves are green in color. Why are they? So what answer you expect from the children? Now I'll leave it to you. Let it not be one-sided. So what answer you expect from the children when you ask a question, why are leaves green in color?
Chlorophyll.
Yes.
Chlorophyll.
Yeah, because of the chlorophyll. Which part of the plant makes food?
Leaves.
Yes,
Leaves.
if you can, they might answer, they might not answer.
Yes.
Okay, it's because we introduce in class 3 only. In our school, we don't have EVS in 1 and 2. I don't know about other schools. So they won't be knowing about EVS much, but the topic is general. They know about leaves, but they won't know the theory part of which part makes food. So then you can ask, if they answer, fine. If they are not answering also, fine. Why leaves are special? Now you can say, why are they special? Why leaves are special?
As they are called as the kitchen of plant.
Yes. So that way you can make the class interesting by asking the children to participate in it. These are all small questions which they might answer, few might answer, few might not, but our job is to pause each and every stage and just shoot a question. Then you can just ask. Now leaves are producing food. Do roots or stem, do they produce food? You can ask. You can just. So do you think they'll tell answer for this? Maybe class 4 or 5 can explain.
Yes,
Class
ma'am.
Then again, talking about leaves, we can talk about the different shape and size. The leaves are of different shapes and they are of different colors too. Though most of the plants leaves are green, there are different colors wherein you can cite examples as crotons. The green part is there but is hidden, you can tell them. That's why they are in different colors. So they might ask you, won't they prepare food? They are, but it's hidden. It's not visible. Then again, we have to reiterate that unlike animals, green plants prepare their own food. Okay, then the other color like white color plant or whatever it is, they does not prepare food because chlorophyll is necessary to make food. Then you can talk about the shapes, the size of the leaves. It depends on again, the book what we follow. Few readers, they elaborate leaves, the shape, the size, and in detail they talk about each and every leaf, but few they talk that they are of different shapes and margins, and they leave it off. So based on our class reader content, we can go about with the topic. You can just say they are of different shapes and different size. And you can, if it is possible, you can collect few different shapes of leaves before teaching and then just show it in the class. Of course, they would have observed the neem leaf, coriander, mint, and the banana leaf. These are the common leaves wherein every one of us, what should I call it, frequently use. We use neem, maybe for medicine or for puja. We all have, mostly we have mint at home for medicinal values, and coriander we use daily in the food, and banana we use it to eat food. Then here and there you can talk about the fun facts related to that particular topic. So I've just added one fact of leaves. So you can just go through it. Leaves are the most important organs. And no matter how many leaves a plant has, each is arranged in respect of light. So this also you can talk about it. You can say you keep a plant, I mean, wherein near the window or in the balcony, wherever, one wherein you can get sunlight and you can observe the difference. Do both grow the same? Surely it won't. Then you can ask why it doesn't happen. you can very well say that lack of sunlight, because the first we read about the factors needed for a plant to grow. So sunlight, if it don't get proper sunlight, the plant will change the direction. So a leaf must be thin enough for light to penetrate all the cell layers. And then we talk about bud. Even when you talk about leaves, you can have an activity type. I will stop here. You can ask children to bring different kinds of leaves to class. You draw a diagram on the board of the leaves. Then you can explain about the leaf blade, midrib, side veins, and the stomata, provided these things are there in the reader. Now, for example, in the NCERT, they are not discussing all this, but I saw a few readers, they are explaining all this. So based on your school syllabus and book, you have to go about the details. Or else you can just, in here, he just talks with the margin for class 3. He is not going in detail with it. So that's what, based on our content, we have to slightly elaborate. So if you are going to elaborate fully as per the reader, you can draw it on the board, explain each and every part in detail. Or you can show a leaf and ask the child, after that, you can ask the child to identify what is a leaf blade, or what is midrib, or what is the side, and all that. So it will be very easy for the child. Then we are talking about bud. Surely they would have seen it. And we won't be explaining much in detail for 3, 4, 5, not necessary. We'll only say bud develops into a flower. That's all, not more than that. And even for flower, we are not going to explain in detail, because we are not going to learn about petals or sepals now. So it's not there. We'll only talk that bud develops into a flower. Then here also I've added few, did you know? So single sunflower is a cluster of 100 flowers. And we are talking about the diphthelia. Then comes the fruit. Fruit, surely you can ask them, various types of fruits are there, different variety, different, grown in different places and different types. There also you can only explain, not much in detail. Then comes the reproduction. Here also reproduction, according to NCERT, we are dealing only with seeds. But other readers, they are talking about all types of reproduction. They are talking about vegetative propagation and other things. But here, so based on the general content, I have prepared this. So while talking about the germination or reproduction, you can ask them to just soak few seeds for 2-3 days, then take it out and observe it. Then you can tell them that an outer skin like covering you could have swollen up. That is called as the seed coat. This one, this is the seed coat. This main function of the seed coat is to protect the seed. So if you remove this, you will see the seed leaves cartilagen. Okay. So their main function is to provide food to the growing plants. So on separating these cartilagens, you'll observe the baby plant. This. So it is this baby plant which grows into a seedling. Then you can say the structure, how it is. You can just show them structure of a monocot and a dicot, how it is. Explain. Now the germination process, how it germinates, Here also you can explain them, you can ask them to observe. They can, as activity at home, they can sow a seed, they can make a chart, note it down, how many days it took for the embryo to shoot out. Each stage they can make a note of it, and then they can show you. If possible, they can bring that and show you, or you can also have it in one corner of the classroom in one small container or a pot, and then you can just ask the children to observe the developments of it. Then the dispersal of seeds. This is there only for class 5 stage. So here this topic is passed, wherein you will explain the different kinds of dispersal of seeds. So for example, seed is dispersed by way of wind, then it is dispersed by way of water, then animals and birds to disperse, and busting of seeds also happens. So these are all the various methods of, you can explain in by wind how it happens, what are all the types of seeds. Wind helps in dispersing the seeds, water, and you can very well say that the coconut or palm tree is dispersed. So that is the reason we can find coconut tree in the coastal areas. You can tell that also. The main reason for these plants and trees growing more there is because of this. Then animals and birds, based on the condition of the place and the climate, wherever it is dispersed by them, those plants and trees grows. And bursting, if it is matured, not removed, automatically it bursts and then it reproduces. So this, any other method you all have, teachers, you can please share in. You're welcome to explain or give suggestions.
Ma'am, for bursting, we can even explain that it is as explosion, ma'am.
Yes, explosion also you can explain.
Yes, okay.
We can give common examples. Then roots. So the types of roots. What is the taproot? Major types is taproot and fibrous root only. What is a taproot? You can say them, it is a single main root system that goes down. And the common example.
ஸ்கூல் கார்னில் அப்டேட் பண்ண சொல்லி இது வந்து நமக்கு டிரைவ் அனுப்பியிருக்காங்க. அந்த டிரைவ்ல இங்க ஆட் பண்ணா போதும். அங்க அப்டேட் ஆயிடுமா?
So you can give carrot as an example for taproot. And fibrous roots, you can say that it's a system forms a dense network of roots. You can show them, draw them and show, and it's very close to the soil surface. The examples are your wheat, rice, corn. You can tell about this. Now, after explaining till this, we have to go back parts of the plant. After explaining all this only, we have to go back this and we can say flower, fruit, stem, leaf, bud, all this together form as a shoot system. And the roots, anything below the soil is the root system. So anything above the soil, the plant which grows above the soil, that is shoot system, and what is below the soil is root system. So you can talk about these two. Then you can proceed further. You can explain about the roots. Now we have defined about the types of plants. sorry, parts of plants. Now we are going to talk about the types. While talking about this also, we can use the common examples. Like we can ask them, say, have you ever noticed that all plants grow of the same height? So surely it's not. You can ask why money plant is always moving and then why it is not steady, or why it is not straight, or why a rose plant is not growing very high. Like that, you can just ask few examples. If they know they're going to answer, then you can come out with the explanation of each. You can say, see, the plants are distinguished like this: trees, shrubs, herbs, creepers, and climbers. Now, why do they have these categories? Why are they called as this? Then again, we'll be defining them. Why these things are all called tree. Why a mango tree is called as a tree. Okay. Why a money plant is called as a, what it is called as? Climber. Yes, climber. Why it is called as a climber? Because now we are going to explain the definition. We'll be explaining the definition of each and every term, so that I don't think I need to tell what is a tree, what is a shrub. But while explaining a creeper and a climber, we have to be very, what should I say, make it easy for the children to distinguish it. The things which go down, which is growing on the ground. Okay, they are creepers, the watermelon or your pumpkin or that. It just grows down, creeps down wherever it is. Because what distinction you will give for climber and a creeper? How you will explain the child to remember it more easily? Can anybody come out with it?
Creepers have big fruit.
Creeper bears a big fruit.
Big fruit.
Yes.
Okay.
Climber bears a small fruit.
So that's the
Climbers
only-
have
Climbers need support to grow so that it is climbing on other
Climbers
plant
need
and then
support
it
to
is
stand
growing up.
erect.
So that's how you will differentiate creeper and a climber. Yes, while explaining to the children.
Climber, it have a weak stem, so we have to give support to climb up. So it is called climbers.
Okay, without support, it won't grow
It can't
high.
grow high, so we
Yes.
have to give
So we have
support.
to
It
give
have weak
support.
stem. Weak
Okay.
stem.
Okay. Then creeper.
Creeper, as it is carrying a big fruit, it cannot able to climb up.
So it grows down.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
it's creeping down
Yes.
and moving. Yeah.
Yes.
Shrub and herb. How you are going to differentiate shrub and herb?
bushy
Herbs
plants.
have medicinal properties as shrubs are small, having a thorn-like structures.
And shrubs can grow in a bushy way, like rose, like sometimes
Mehendi.
roses, and yeah, and herbs we can use in cooking. It have a thin stem compared to the shrubs. It have a thin and
Herbs have medicinal
stem.
properties.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a non-woody plant. The stem is very thin, whereas shrub, it
Have
is
thick
medium
stem.
bushy
Herbs are
plants.
slender and
Someone said
green.
it has thorns.
Compared to herbs, the shrubs have little bit thick stem. We
Yes.
can differentiate the shrubs and the herbs using the stem also.
Yes, you can distinguish with that. It's slightly
And herbs
thicker.
will not grow much.
And the other
ma'am.
one is the
It is a
woody
very
stem.
small plant. It will not grow much.
You mean to say tulsi and other things
Mint.
will not grow higher?
Yes, ma'am. Will not
Yeah.
grow higher.
Yes. So when the child asks how to understand, how to differentiate, because the tree is clear cut, there are no doubts. It's a tall plant with thick wooden trunk. Okay, that's the definition for tree, so they won't get confused there. Wherein the climber and creeper, we have to be more specific, and herbs and shrubs, we have to be more specific while explaining them. And even we can give a question differentiate creeper and clyper or herbs and shrubs so that they'll have more clarity on that particular thing. Then, see, we discussed only about plants, the main plants. There are other plants also like insectivorous and parasites. I'm not talking about that because all the readers don't speak about that. What is a parasite plant?
Which will feed on other
Yes,
plants.
it
for their
doesn't
food.
make food on its own. It feeds on others and it grows on the other
Depend
plant.
on other plants.
That is not necessary here. But insectivorous plants, they need to know. And then you can talk about it. That too, I'm telling you again, if it is there in your, what should I call it, in your content, in what you're explaining. Yes. But for general knowledge, if some child is asking, we can, based on the batch, based on the children, based on their interest and IQ, we need to extend the topic. Even though it is not in the reader, if some child is asking, ma'am, only like I told about the parasite plant, he might ask, yeah, he might ask you, we can inform the fact. Or even we can tell before informing, why can't you just find out if it is class 4 or 5? We can say, why can't you just find out as homework and tell me tomorrow? If you can't, I'll surely explain you. So that will give him a thought to go and work on that particular topic. Now, parts of the plant used to store food. When you are going to talk about this topic, you can ask them. You can ask them what vegetable you like. Okay. What are all the vegetables? He will name few. Or you can ask each child to name a vegetable, note it down on the board. Okay. Categorize them. Categorize them, and then you can say this vegetable is called as flower, and this is stem, this is leaf. Even it can be an activity too in the class. Okay. These are the root vegetables, these are the seeds, what we eat, flower and all that. So each part of the plants are used to store food, and each part of the plant we eat. Both the ways you can use this slide. Here, where they are storing the food, okay, and then what all the parts of the plant we eat, that also you can ask them. And what are the uses of plants? Mainly it is used for food. Then only the medicine. Yes. Then other properties like wood, paper, resins, etc. So the main thing what we take from the plants is food. You can talk about the different types. You can talk about the crops, if it is there, or in general, for knowledge sake, you can talk about the crops categorized into two, like food crops and cash crops. So you can extend. Yes, ma'am. You can extend the content based again on the requirement of the lesson. So each topic has a lot of branches. So based on the content, you can just extend it. When you're going to talk about the plants are used for food, and we are going to talk about seeds, then we will categorize it into two. He might ask you what is a food crop or what is a cash crop, he or she. Then slight explanation is enough. If it is not in the reader, you can say what all we consume, essential for our daily utility, you can call it as food crop, and what is cultivated only for money, to make profit, they are called as cash crops. And even you can say, he can ask you, food crop also is sold, but you can live without cashew, cotton or cardamom, but we cannot live with rice or wheat. So that's the reason they are categorized as food crop and cash crop. So that's how we can talk about. And medicinal plants, herbs, they are, so many plants are used as medicines. So that's the main use of plants. Then we take wood. Then when we talk about this, we need to talk about conservation of forest. We need to talk about afforestation and deforestation. So only when it is necessary, we need to cut wood. So when we need to grow more plants, I'm talking about conservation there. Like we have to conserve. Why? Because it is very important to have balance. So we have to conserve, and we have to talk more about conservation, and you have to instill that each child should know the value of growing plants. Yes, ma'am. Shivapriya, ma'am. You asked something?
No, ma'am.
No. Okay. See, you should, at the end of the class, you should see to it that the child is interested in cultivating plants. And you can even ask them to grow small plants. You can say if somebody is cutting or something, doing something, you can ask them to go explain about the importance of conservation or cultivating plants. Each one should plant. They can even give saplings during their birthdays instead of giving chocolates. Small plant sapling can be given during functions. Also, we can exchange. We can tell others about the importance. So in what all ways we can conserve, we can create, what should I say, knowledge among children about the importance of plants. We can talk. We can even make it compulsory that they have to have 1 or 2 plants in their house. Even we are living in a flat, each one of us have a small balcony wherein we can have a medicinal plant. Like we can even have a tulsi plant, or what should I say, mint, anything we can have which doesn't need much of what should I call, manure or something like that. Small watering for that plant is more than enough. Yes. Shivapriya ma'am again.
Sorry, ma'am. I missed.
You are always welcome to talk. I just want to know whether I am not listening to you and I'm proceeding.
Okay, I'm sorry, ma'am.
No, it's okay. So this is how we can talk about plants. Then how much care we can take of plants. Now, here again, I have added few fun facts. Can you read, or you want me to read it out? The screen is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Anyway, if you want, I'll share the PPT in the group, teachers. If you feel you want it, I will share it. If not, no.
No, ma'am. Sure, ma'am.
Yeah.
Share. Thank you.
Please share the
Please share,
PPT,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Then again, some more facts. Now, see, the suggested activities, what, for just rough idea I have mentioned, draw or collect different types of leaves. You can have a picture collage, that is the uses of plants. Any collage you can have. You can even have a collage of leaves. You can have uses of plants. You can have medicinal plants. The idea is to have a collage. The topic is up to you, viewers. Then you can ask the children to draw a diagram. It can be parts of the plant or plant life cycle, whatever it is. Then methodology. After explaining the lesson, we just do small recap. Actually, we cannot be explaining this lesson in one day. See, this plant life topic at least needs 4 to 5 periods, whether it's class 3 or class 5. Based on the content, we'll be explaining in a slow method. So first day, whatever I explained, second day, I will just revise it, review it, recap. I'll ask small questions. I won't be reading the lesson again. I'll ask small questions based on the topic, what they have learned or what we have taught them yesterday. Then after revising, explanation, everything, primary classes, reading is very, very important. Reading the lesson loudly in the class. So what we have to do is, first we have to read the lesson line by line and ask the child to repeat the whole class in their normal tone. So when you read also, don't read loudly. Read in your normal tone. Ask the child to follow with his finger, word by word. And then just you go around. You don't have a reader. It is enough if you look into your child's reader, just roam around, read from their reader. I think it is possible. That's how I do it. So that the child will also be more attentive. He won't be looking here and there. When you have a reader and cover your face, you cannot expect the children to listen or to read with full concentration. So move around, ask him to follow with his finger and repeat in his normal tone. So when you move around, you will know whether he is with you. Then after that, you ask him to do reading. I think full period is necessary, 1 period for reading, so that the child is familiar with the words. And then at home, he can practice reading. You can simply say that any day there will be a reading test and I want all of you to read the lesson thoroughly. And it is for continuous assessment, we can tell that. And give him 5 to 10 minutes after explaining the lesson to do the book back questions. Objective questions, let him do. After 10 minutes, you discuss the answers with the child. And question answers, you can ask one to answer, the small ones. Even the detailed answer, if they say points here and there, it's fine. So that way you will be discussing the book back questions. And then if at all you have any extra question answer, you can just ask them and you can expect answer from the child. If not, you can explain them. So that way, once more, we have explained the topics. Then how you will evaluate? It can be an oral test or written test, quiz or open book test. These are all after completing the lesson. What we have for periodic term 1, term 2, that is different. This is after completing one lesson, what sorts of methods we use to reinforce the topic again and again. To make him more familiar with the topic, these are the methods we can adopt. But reading is very, very important, teachers. Once he knows to read the content, he'll be able to write on his own.